Hello, thanks for joining us on your channel of choice at this time, Africa Independent Television AIT. Welcome to Focus Nigeria. My name is Benga Aruleba. It's the Friday edition of the program. The National Assembly has passed the 2017 federal budget. Both chambers of the National Assembly on Thursday at their different plenaries passed the new figure arrived at a joint conference. The original figure presented by the executive was 7.298 trillion naira, but was slightly adjusted upwards to 7.441 trillion naira. According to the legislators, the new figures appropriated under different subheads is a reflection of their resolve to join efforts with the executive to ensure economic recovery and growth by making provision for some critical sectors of the economy. The areas include provision of funds for the second Abuja Airport runway, funding for the long-abandoned Itakpe-Warri rail line, funding for the Abeokuta airstrip, provision for completion and takeoff of the Baro inland port, while the request of the executive for the amnesty program was also jacked up to ensure full stability and peace in the Niger Delta to engender sustained increased oil production and, conversely, more money to fund the budget. Let's take you to the two chambers for the sights and sounds of how the 2017 appropriation bill was passed at their different plenaries on Thursday.
Provision for second Abuja runway, which 10 billion has also been provided from the $2 benchmark. Then funding of the long-abandoned Itakpe-Warri rail line. Then funding of the Abeokuta airstrip. Then provision for the completion and takeoff of the Baro inland port under Nigerian Inland Waterways, NIWA. Mr. Chairman, the import of this budget is to spur growth in the economy, spiral development in all areas and endangered and so much need productivity. Having thoroughly worked on the budget and arising from the work of our standing committees and subcommittees of appropriation, we hereby recommend that this House do consider and approve a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation of the total sum of 7,441,175,486,758. Mr. Speaker, I so submit.
Say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. You will notice that we have passed this together with the details. By the directive
Order, please.
from the leadership,
Order, please. Please,
all
silence.
committees were supposed to have 2/3 signature of members of their committee before the budget of their committee will be accepted by the appropriation committee of the House. And all the committees passed that litmus test. So if a report of a committee is signed and accepted by 2/3 of the membership, that suffices. It's not something that we should debate. But the warning is that since we are going to adopt the votes on proceedings today, nothing must change in these details. If an iota in any figure is going to change, we have to bring it back to the floor in order to maintain the integrity of the document that we have.
With the additional revenue from the increase in the benchmark price of crude oil, provision has been made for the underlisted budgetary needs, among others. This has increased the aggregate figure to 7,441,175,486,758 naira. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having thoroughly examined the reports and recommendations of the subcommittees on the schedules of the 2017 appropriation bill, the committee hereby recommends that the Senate do consider and approve a bill for an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 7,441,175,486,758 175,486,758 naira only.
17 appropriation bill be now read the third time. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
That was how the cookie crumbled yesterday in both chambers of parliament as both the honorable members and the distinguished senators passed the 2017 appropriation bill. Hopefully, the clean copy of the appropriation bill with the details should get to the executive within days, and it's believed that there may not be any delay in signing the budget to law because the executive had been taken all along. Just to also let you know that the Senate has begun the screening of the 27 resident electoral commissioners, REC nominees, whose names were forwarded to it by the president. The screening, which began on Wednesday, is being undertaken by the Senate Committee on INEC, and a number of the INEC nominees have already appeared. And from the proceedings, many of them have their reputation preceding them, and so were simply asked to bow and go. Mike Igini was one of such nominees whose reputation earned him this special treatment, as he was asked to simply take a bow and go. But let's give you a clip of how it went with the other nominees.
Are you a card-carrying member of any party?
I am not.
Have you ever been a card-carrying member of any party?
I have never.
So you are appointed without being a card-carrying member in your state?
Very well, sir.
Did you face any challenge from your state for not being a card-carrying member?
For not being
criticism that you are benefiting from what you have not planted?
Was doing what I knew I ought to do until the nomination came. So I wouldn't have any issue with anybody complaining about.
You are an activist?
Yes, sir.
On the issue of credibility of the election and my experience, what I have observed is that there are lots of problems associated with which I can collectively define as our attitudinal problem. I think we have enough laws that will check the conduct of election. But the general challenge was that of attitude. And I think once we can work on how to bring change in our attitude collectively as a society, that issue of credibility can be enhanced.
The problems of Nigeria's electoral system, I can basically group into two. One being administrative and the other one being political. The administrative are just the few lapses that do come from INEC and some of the systemic problems that we have in the country, especially distribution of materials, not getting to the polling booths on time, which sometimes leads to some other problems like some malpractices, like changing of figures and whatever when those things did not get there, rigging. And then the political one, which is as a result of the problems of illiteracy and poverty.
All right, some of the REC nominees appearing before the Senate Committee on INEC yesterday. This quick one, all eyes are on the Supreme Court, and is the governorship tussle in Abia State that is up for determination this morning at the Supreme Court. It's a pre-election matter between two members of the PDP, that is the governor, Governor Okeze Ikpeazu, and Uche Oga, who came second in the PD primaries, but subsequently went to court to challenge the result of the primaries. His contention was that the Ikpeazu, who won the primaries, attached the test certificates that he attached to his forms contained some discrepancies. Not that they were forged, but that they contained some discrepancies, and as a result of that, he should be disqualified. The lower court upheld his claim as per Justice Okon Abang, but at the Court of Appeal, that position was upturned. So what we are going to hear today is a final decision of the Supreme Court on who is the authentic candidate of the PDP. All right, something to look up to there at the Supreme Court. All right, some of the developments we have tracked for you at the moment. Our discussion is up next as we return to the issue, of course, for restructuring of the country. What are the issues? How feasible are some of them? We started with the issue of local government administration on Wednesday, and there is so much to discuss on this, so we are adding more voices to it this morning. At the moment, opinions are divided on what should be the status of the local government councils in the country. While members of the National Assembly are seemingly not happy that under the present arrangements, the councils have become emasculated by the states and therefore want them to be fully autonomous. There are those opposed to this, particularly the state governors and their state houses of assembly as well, who argue that local governments should be left exclusively to the designs of the states. While the first school of thought insists that councils are part of the federating units, the other school of thought anchors its call on the belief that in a federal structure, the states governments are the states and the federal governments are the federating units. We will be advancing all of these arguments shortly when my guests for today join me.
They see chaos and conflicts. We see community action for good governance. They see poverty and want. We see perseverance and the will to go on. They see economic law. We see the ingenuity. We are AIT News, fresh, authentic views of Africa. How would you rather see the world? AIT News, all sides, all the time. They see chaos and conflicts. We see community action for good governance. They see poverty and want. We see perseverance and the will to go on. They see economic law. We see the ingenuity and creative spirit of our people. We are AIT News, fresh, authentic views of Africa. How would you rather see the world? AIT News, all sides, all the time.
Okay, if you're just joining us, a very warm welcome to you. We're starting this Friday's conversation now because my guests are here. It's my pleasure to warmly welcome Professor Kamal Bello. It's his first time on this program, so let's give it up to him. Prof, good to see you. Professor Kamal Bello is a professor of political science and administration, Nile University here in Abuja. He is former HOD Political Science and Dean Faculty of Social Sciences at the Sokoto State University. Former HOD Public Admin, Nasarawa State University, Kefi. He's been to so many places, grooming the leaders of tomorrow. Prof, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Jide Ojo is also here this morning. Jide is Executive Director, OJ Development Consult. Was it? Okay, sorry. Jide also is a newspaper columnist. Jide, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start for something that not particularly related to what we're discussing. We have the 2017 budget, 7.4 trillion. This is May. The journey has not ended yet. The executive may or may not have issues to pick with the budget, particularly because the figure sent to the National Assembly is different from what is returning to the executive. To that extent, the executive may also want to
ask questions.
Ask questions because, as they say, the devil is in the details. Your quick comment on that.
For me, there is nothing exciting about this whole issue. I mean, I've heard my opinion that it's very saddening the way we go about our budgeting cycle in Nigeria. Here we are, for the first time in recent history, budget being passed middle of May. That's almost half of the year. And this is a budget for a whole year. We rolled over. We have even expired the rollover date. Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to end on May 5th. Yeah. And now we pass on the 11th. And like you said, the acting president may say, 143 billion additional. Where do you want us to get the money? We don't have the money to even fund the 7.29 trillion that we proposed. Now you have added 143 billion because it's about availability of resources. No matter how beautiful a budget estimate or financial plan is, if you don't have the financial muscle to back it up, it's as good as just a paper tiger. Exactly. And for me, I think that's what should have been at the back of the mind of the National Assembly. Not that I'm denying them of the right and privilege of being able to tinker with the budget. I mean, they are not supposed to be rubber stamp. They can move the details or numbers and add and subtract. But where you are increasing in a recession, you are increasing spending, and the budget in itself, the original one that was presented on December 7th, was having over a trillion naira budget deficit that you are even looking for money to finance. Now you have increased it by 143 billion. For whatever it's worth, we give them benefit of that. But for the executive, I think my own word is, I'm concerned and I'm worried that despite this government of change, we are still having issues of budget being presented late. Fiscal Responsibility Act tells us that budget should be presented latest by September to be passed on or before December, so that the financial year starts from January to December. Now, this budget, 2017 budget, the medium-term expenditure framework was not even passed as at the time the budget was laid. The fiscal strategy paper was not passed by the National Assembly as at the time the budget was laid. That is an aberration.
Yeah, whereas the budget ought to take a cue.
It's supposed to key into the past MTEF.
Yeah.
So where are we going from here? And you have you launch a economic blueprint, economic recovery and growth plan, where you said you want to diversify, you want to ease doing of business and all of that. Laudable as they are, if you continue to have this kind of budget cycle, you are just not going to get anywhere with the ERGP plan.
All right, Prof. Yes, let's see how all of this impacts on the average Nigerian. What actually is in the budget, this budget ritual for the average Nigerian?
The problem of Nigeria, to be frank, Nigeria as a project needs a kind of defined intervention. Define. Because we can't continue doing the same thing for years. We're in this democracy since 1999, and we are still talking of not passing budget at the right time. The president submitted this budget maybe around December
14.
And 5 months after, which is against the guideline for fiscal responsibility in Nigeria. Now within 3 months, within September, December, if a president presents a budget to you, must pass it. So the executive, the legislature, the citizens, the civil society organization, as if all of us are a bit weak. Because 18 years into democracy, since 1999 to 2017, we can still not make our budget to be passed at the normal time. It must have one issue or the other. Maybe this personal thing, Magu should be removed. If it's not removed, we are keeping the budget. But the police people check your house, find some incriminating things. You said the budgets were taken. It's too much for us to understand. That's why I use the word defined intervention as a nation. The project is not what is expected. We need to, Nigeria.
Project Nigeria.
Nigeria is not what is expected. We need to have moved beyond issue of budget not being passed.
All right, talking about the project Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Over 50 years down the line as a project, as an enterprise, a lot of people are still saying we need to dismantle the project and recouple it again, possible, probably in a different format and all of that. Well, what do you say to those who think that, I mean, to this latest call for restructuring of the country and all of that?
So what I'm seeing about
is it at any time that we don't find anything serious to engage our attention, the issue of restructuring of Nigeria becomes a project?
As I said, Nigeria as a project is not a good project. We that we are running the project too, we have a lot of fundamental problems. Flimsies, like in the academic, there are courses that are compulsory, there are courses that are minor, they are elective. We wasted most of our energy on elective courses instead of the compulsory courses. Compulsory is that how would the project work? How does the project work in the First Republic? It worked because of the minds then. Those people that were there, they made it work. I didn't mean we are the one, this set of people in Nigeria today, during the colonialism. I don't think we can get independence. Because the idea, the commitment, the seriousness.
What is not working in Nigeria? Is it the structure that is not working, or simply the operators that don't understand how to make the structures work?
It's the operator. The operators
because there are countries that struggle for independence the same way we struggle for independence. Got independence about the same time we got independence, and they have made far progress more than us.
It's the people, the operators of the project. They are the ones that are having problem. If you remember,
how come in a country as big as this, we can't find the right people to put in charge of? Because if Nigeria were to be a company and has this number of people, this number of people as the managers or the owners, and then it's impossible for this large number of owners to select a few among them to run the project, to run the company. Nigeria now being a company, to run it successfully. Doesn't that say a lot about the entire populace?
To be frank and candid, there are good people that can run this country. There's no doubt about that. But the recruitment of the people who are to run the country is weak. Let me use my constituency for example.
That's academic.
Academic, the university system. You want to select a vice chancellor to run the university. The visitor is there, who is the president. The governing council is there, who will submit 3 names. Out of the 3 names, you pick one. The one you will pick out of the 3 may be the weakest. So recruitment into leadership in Nigeria is weak. That's the way we have problem. And that's how it is almost everywhere. The vice chancellor too will pick an HOD that he knows that maybe not through the democratic process or dean. So that's where the weakness is coming. The same thing, representatives, House of Assembly, even ministers. Are we saying, I'm sorry to say, not that I'm maybe disparaging or maybe degrading some characters. Are we saying those who are our executive council today at the federal and state level are the best we have from those states? They are not. Most of them have political undertone before they can come up. The good materials are there, but they can't, it's not possible for them to come up. So recruitment into running selecting the operators, that's where we have the problem.
I'll come back to that issue because you are actually taking us to a new realm that I think also is very fundamental. Should actually be the foundation, because if we have a very warped system of recruitment into our public offices, then we cannot even be talking of having to run these offices in a way to deliver dividend to Nigeria. Ejide, is that where we got it wrong, our recruitment process into public offices? What did we do right in the First Republic such that the regions were flourishing and Nigeria was on the path of greatness? And then where did we get it wrong? Will it be the several years of military rule that brought in the distortion, and we have continued to build on that distortion since?
It's potpourri of issues or factors. Leadership recruitment process is faulty. The structure itself is faulty. The moment we go presidential system is always very expensive to run because of the bureaucratic nature. You know, in a parliamentary system, members of the cabinet are also members of the legislature. So there is fusion of power. Yeah. So you reduce even cost of electioneering in terms of the number of people that you appoint into positions. And when you look at the First Republic that we say was right, the regions were doing what? They were almost semi-autonomous. They were running their administration. The Southwest was using the cocoa resources to do a number of things. And we have the right people at that time. People like Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Remember, OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University, was built through cocoa resources. Money sourced, money gotten from cocoa. We built that. We built the first television station in Africa. Awolowo, the premiership of Awolowo built, cocoa house. You know, where do we see such today? All of those resources, because they were semi-autonomous, so they were more like paying tax to the center. The center was not as attractive. Remember, the premier, Sir Ahmadu Bello, actually had to consider and said that Tafawa Balewa should go and be the prime minister, because he has more enormous power, even as a premier, than as a prime minister. As a premier in the north than as a prime minister. So he considered that, look, I want to develop, and there was healthy rivalry among the three. You remember, self-government was first pronounced in southern Nigeria in 1957, before the north in 1959, before general independence in 1960. So all of this, when you look at that semi-autonomous nature and the accrual of federalism, that you pay from your resources, you pay to the center. Unlike the feed-the-bottle federalism we now run under from 1979 onward, where you now have a situation where every state now comes to the federal to get monthly allocation. And that is part of the challenge. Then there is also the proliferation of states. And that's where because you keep creating states from 3 regions to 4 regions to 12 states to 19 states to 21 to 27 now to 36.
And some are still, and
they are still agitating for more.
And in the struggle to restructure Nigeria,
in my enclave, they are asking for Ibadan state. One is that state. This one state. So you now say, what have we learned? That you have proliferation of states that are more like glorified local government that cannot even pay its staff, that cannot even do anything without the recourse to the center. Look at how much has been given as bailout to these states to even pay salaries, not even for developmental purposes. We are not saying that borrow us money to fund our road project, our water. I was watching AIT yesterday. They did a documentary on Edo State, that there is a water board just like within eyesight of a house, and there's no water in that house. As in, for the past 4 years, they said they've not seen water. And yet there is a water board. We are not borrowing money to fix those problems, those developmental problems. Rather, we are borrowing to pay salaries. We are getting bailout to pay salaries, all because some people have left their thinking cap. And then we want more states. We want more local government after 774 that we have. And, it was so sad. I read Governor Dan Kwabo in the papers yesterday, where he said local government cannot manage huge resources. Who made it so? I happen to have gone to Ibadan municipal government primary school. It was owned by the IMG, Ibadan City Council, then later Ibadan municipal government. They had a functional school, public school, that was running. How many has the current leadership of local government? How many of them have they established? Rather, they depend on the community. So you have plethora of community secondary school, community primary school, which is actually abdication of the role of government. Because the role of government is about welfare and security of citizens.
I will actually bring you to that issue much later, because on the issue of local government. Okay,
on the issue of, he made a mention of something that I would like to maybe make.
Is it on the local government?
No, on the federalism and parliamentary system of government.
Okay. Yeah, well, was that where we got it wrong?
That's what I wanted
when we switched from parliamentary system to a presidential system of government that is so burdensome, not just the presidential system of government as it has been operated elsewhere, but our own peculiar presidential system, our own peculiar homegrown presidential system, which is completely different from presidential system elsewhere.
Yes, we cannot run the presidential system of government properly. The characters now, the operators now, there's no way, no matter the system, either parliamentary or otherwise, we will not be able to run it successfully.
Yeah, but Nigerians ran the parliamentary system of government. We didn't import those who were at the helm of affairs. They were Nigerians.
Those then, they are characters. I'm just coming from the Arewa Consultative Forum meeting, NEC meeting and BOT on Wednesday. The issue came up. Where are the Southerners again in the north? In terms of discipline, in terms of accommodation, in terms of non-discrimination. I do ask the question that if Awolowo is a good person, Nnamdi Azikiwe is a good person, since they have gone, have we produced even a local Southerner of Sokoto that is not for the 19 northern states?
What is making it difficult for Nigeria of today to have the likes of Awolowo, the likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe, the likes of Sardauna?
Our method of recruitment is faulty. Secondly, our rentier system of economy. Money was not as easy to get as this. And then we now continue to give ourselves. There are states today that are creating ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Technology Education.
Really?
Yes. Yes. And every ministry will have permanent secretary. And permanent secretary in Nigeria will retire.
Every ministry will have the full complement of political
appointees.
Commissioner,
and a permanent secretary retires
on
his salary. If you're a permanent secretary, you retire, you take away your salary. You continue to collect your salary.
For life.
For life. So those are where recruitment into leadership is the main problem. We are creating something that is not even relevant to our system. If you have Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Technology Education, doing what? Different. Duplication. And then the money will be going. That is why our budget, 70% of it is going for the current expenditure. Because we created, people are just taking salary anyhow, which was not the case in those days. Sardauna, Azikiwe, Awolowo, they were disciplined. They take little from the source, from the public purse. But we take anyhow now. We divert.
Those that were few that were in the public service in those days were the ones working to sustain the needs of the 98% of their regions. Today the roles have been changed. It is the 98% that will have to work to sustain the 2% that are in public service.
If it's a local government chairman you give appointment to, despite the advice from the locality, speak the same language, worship the same religion, is cheating them, taking almost 50% of the resources.
Yeah, but what do we do? First of all, do we need to change the structure of government first? Because no doubt the presidential system of government, particularly our own peculiar presidential system of government, is unworthy and is peculiar to us and is burdensome.
We made it to be that.
What do we need to do?
If you get the right person there, they will be able to do it. This is my salary. I take it, I don't take anything more than that. If you have like minds like that.
Yeah, but we can't, the size alone is what I'm even talking about. Do we need a presidential system of government where you have 2 chambers of parliament, for instance, at the federal level, 360 members of House of Reps, who each of them is entitled to at least 5 aides with all their responsibilities. These aides too probably will also be entitled to some level of aides and all of that. And do we need 109 senators?
We are at a crossroads, sir. Because those who will change the constitution to provide for less
are the ones that will be affected.
Which they will never do.
No, we can't say they will never do it. We have to force them to do it. In Senegal, when they knew that 2 chambers of Senate wasn't working for them, in 2012 or 2013, they decided to go unicameral. You understand? It wasn't like that from inception, but when they saw that, look, this is constituting a drain on our resources, they came together. People have to force them. We can't continue like this and expect anything better out of the system. The bottom line is that I agree with Prof. Leadership recruitment is key. We got it wrong there. But beyond and above that, look at the Constitution. You have almost 50 items under exclusive list.
That are entirely left to the federal government.
Left to the federal government. Railway. As in railway. You cannot, a state cannot do. You know that was what led to Lagos Metro line under Jakonde that the federal government frustrated in front. If the railway has been left, what is the security implication of having your own railway? If you have your own road transport system, you have your own waterway, why can't we make decentralized railway? So many items on that exclusive list that should not be there. That is actually an impediment to our development today. That's where we should start from. Because I agree, the operators of the system, but even when you find yourself in a rental system where everybody is beholden to you, you are a teen god.
And you dispense
favor.
Left, right, and center.
Left, right, and center. Because the system has made it so. Look at our budget. There is something called welfare in the budget. Welfare can be in 200 million as in welfare. What does that mean? That's the money for the boys. Look at the security vote. I think it's been discussed on this program.
Yeah.
Billions of naira that is not accounted for. And I watched on a sister station this week where a former governor of Kano State was actually defending that, well, the only thing you can do is to make it accountable, but you cannot do without security vote. Because even those who are jobless, who depends on them for survival, if they don't settle them, they will constitute security nuisance. I agree. But should it be so? Should it be that we have billions of naira being taken every month as security vote that nobody accounts for? It's part of the warped system. So if I become a governor, that's not my good intention. People will say, Jide, you are not using your powers. You say you don't have money, but you have security vote. You are the chief executive, and you are not accounting for it. So can you be a holy man? Are you the one that will change Nigeria? So that is where, so when the system, when you do the restructuring along even the bureaucracy, that's the first part. Then you now find a proper leadership recruitment system that will fit in by bringing in the square peg in square hole, not a round peg in square hole. So then you also need to deal with this mindset that I'm in government to make money. People are richer in government than they are out of it. In St. Clients, people are poorer when they serve than when they are in. Obama loses more by being the president of America. Did you hear that they were just thinking of rented apartment 8 years after can you just imagine that a senator and a two-time president of the biggest country in the world, the most powerful country of the world, living in a rented apartment 8 years after his presidency? Is it not like they will say you are under cost in Nigeria? That how could you can't even take care of your future by helping yourself to the treasury? So it's a potpourri, like I said, of many things. You can't say only recruitment. Once you fix the recruitment, everything will fall into place. We need to look at our constitution. We need to remove a lot of things that are on the exclusive and concurrent list, put them under residual. We need to strengthen the institutions by making the right laws. For instance, we are fighting corruption. There is no whistleblowing. We only have whistleblowing policy. There is no legal backing. So in 2019, if Buhari fails to win, the new administration does what? By a stroke of pen, just say we are discontinuing.
No, you don't even need to just keep quiet over it.
And
then it dies naturally.
So these are things we need to fix along the line.
Because my big question is that, and big worry.
Yeah, but my own worry is, where do we start from?
How do we restructure?
Exactly. Who casts the first stone?
Who will restructure? The people masses.
Who are already beneficiaries of the warped system.
Former governor of Jigawa State said something about 2 weeks ago, which was embarrassing.
What did he say?
He said, the elites in Nigeria, political elites, will not allow anything to happen to Nigeria in terms of dismantle, because they are enjoying the system as a spoiled system as it is. And then he said the masses too, they are too weak. They are divided over religion and ethnicity.
Too disempowered.
Too disempowered. The only solution to the problem is the masses that are suffering. And the masses in Nigeria are more than 70%. who find it difficult to meet up their needs.
Yeah, but haven't we suffered enough for us to?
Then,
or is it the degree of suffering that is making it, that is uneven, that is making it for us to be united in speaking with one voice? Because here, if you are talking of the elite, I'm not so sure they constitute up to 10% of the population.
Yes.
That's if you stretch it to include middle class Nigerians. That will include people like you. I'm not sure they have to 10%.
And you too, sir.
But you, because you are wearing suit.
You don't know whether this is a borrowed suit.
I'm not sure that's up to 10, 15, 20% of the population. What happened to the voices of the remaining 80%?
To be frank and candid, in the history of political experiments in the world, it is the masses that do carry out a change. But they must have a rallying point. And the rallying point will usually come from the elite. It's the elite that will come and rally round.
That's when there is crisis among the elite.
Look at what happened in France. He was part of the government before, as a minister. Then he came out and rallied people, and was able to do. Do we have that type of character in Nigeria? I remember in Kano, Malam Bram Shikarau was a principal before he retired, a permanent secretary. Then during the 2003 election, the masses rallied around him, and he defeated incumbent governor. But immediately he won the election, what did he do? He turned his face away from the masses. Until we get individual from among them who will be able to rally everybody around. The same thing happened to Malam Isa Yuguda in Bauchi State. He was in PDP, they denied him the ticket of the governorship. They called him to come to NPP. He came, the masses rallied around and voted for him.
Only for him to 4 months after.
And change party again and went back to that place. Until we get people, that's why I'm talking of recruitment into leadership. Until we get an individual who will be able to stand the thick, the shining of the sun and the cold. The masses will rally around. This is the advantage, I'm sorry to use the word, that Buhari had, because they saw the masses saw him standing. Different from others. That's why they say, no, either you give us money or you do not give, we will vote for you.
But that is also not as fundamental as probably what has happened elsewhere. Because if we are talking of in that election, where as many as 12 million still didn't also find him worthy of their votes.
What I'm trying to say is that
what I'm saying is that we don't have a revolution kind of that is at least have
national
exactly like 90% of the population.
Of 70.
But if you have an election like we have in 2015, and I think it's 15 million to 12 million, which is close, almost even. So that is still not a fundamental change. Really.
No, until we get there cannot be any serious change.
But what I think, Prof, ought to this administration, in spite of the fact that maybe 12 million didn't vote for him, he has a golden opportunity
to at least
to bring that revolutionary change that was envisaged. Because we have an executive president with appearances of power, as he is an imperial power that he has.
Isn't that where the problem comes from? When you have too much to do and you have too much power to win.
No. That's
the
not
tendency is for you to do the wrong things.
No. That's not.
If you get the right person.
If you have the right person who uses power for the people positively, it shows that you can deal with those who will ordinarily have put you down. But unfortunately, we are bogged down with a sick president, and I'm not happy about that. I wish the president was healthier and was able to put his eye on the ball the way we thought he would do. Because look at it this way, sir. You have a scenario where you have enormous power at your disposal. But you are not able to exercise those powers, more so because of certain political consideration. And you know that's why where this issue of second term phenomenon comes in. And tying it to that second term, a lot of people will look the other way because they want second term. The previous administration did a lot of concessioning because it wants what? Second term. Oh, if I rock the boat, these people will not vote for me. That is why I like how President Goodluck Jonathan started in his first year of coming to power. He tried to institute one term of 6 years presidency. Let everybody serve one term. You know you are not coming back. So the clothes are off. There are no concessions you want to make. It's either now or never.
But he wasn't committed to it.
But he wasn't committed to it.
Yeah, because if he was committed to it, he probably could have achieved it within that first.
It's people that went to advise him now. Yeah. People went and said, this is the opportunity for Niger Delta. You now want to concede power. If you do that one time now and you go, when will it be our turn again? Because it's a turn by turn Nigeria Limited. When will it be our turn again? Don't push this too far. You are shooting yourself. Because it was as at then inconceivable that an incumbent would lose an election. Yeah. At least at the level of the presidency. We have had incumbent losing an election at the state level several times over. But it was inconceivable because I interacted with a former minister a year to that election. We were having a discourse, and she said, it's a female. She said, Jide, have you ever seen an incumbent that loses election in Nigeria?
In Africa.
At least at the level of Nigerian president. He said the man will win. Forget all this ulabalo and all this hoopla that people are. But it turns out to be a false confidence. That when people are united and they feel that they are far enough, they can actually demonstrate their power to effect change. But after that change, what comes? People must key into your agenda. People must buy into that thought, revolutionary thought that you have, that you think can make things work better. There are certain things I thought this administration, for instance, the issue of economic recovery and growth plan. Why is it taking the administration 2 years to initiate it? And yet you are saying 2017 to 2020. 2020, are you sure you will be there? By mid-2018, we are already bogged down with politicking. So the concessioning will be, because as you will have noticed, a sick president, and I'm not gloating over his ill health, some people have gone to print posters for his 2019. What does that tell you? The party chairman is saying, this man, no vacancy. Is that the way it should be? That is part of the restructuring we need to have. That if it means having a one term of 6, 7 years or 5 years, in many African countries, elections are held every 5 years. Other than 4 years, and look at the humongous amount we spent on election. 120 billion or thereabout was spent in the last general election. Can we afford that in a recession every 5 years or every 4 years rather? If you make it 6 years, it saves us a lot of resources. It frees a lot of resources that could be used for developmental projects. And that is part of the restructuring I'm looking at.
All right. But let's touch on the issue of local government that we have put on as the first item that we actually have to veer off and take some other issues. But because I need to have your thoughts on that quickly. What are your thoughts on local government administration in Nigeria? Have we met the aspirations of those who thought about creating that tier of government?
I will still be back to my theory. In the Second Republic, we started local government system in 1976 when the military was about to hand over in the Second Republic. We had it good. Councillors, chairmen elected. The allocations are given to them.
And then you could, at that time, you could attract the best hands
to go work there. Yeah. If you go there, they have bulldozer, they have tractors, they have everything, the graded road, the tar road, they do culvert, and so on and so forth. That's how we move. 1999 up to 2003, it was better. It was 2003. Those of them that are leading at the state level, the governors, they now change the allocation not to come directly
to the councils.
Not that there's any what is it called? A constitutional backing into what they are doing. I have constitutions here: 79, 1989, the 1999, the amended 99, the 1999, the 1979, the 1989 during Babangida when he was transiting in 1992. All of them were saying the same thing on local government. create a local government and give it its rights. And it's repeated in the amended. They did not change it. So where do they get what they are doing? It's because of the personal attitude of greed. The money that belongs to local government, they will say because Constitution said this. I was discussing with a friend yesterday on the social media, on the Facebook. He was asking this question, that we should try and make sure that there's autonomy for local government. I asked him, I said, who said there's no autonomy for local government?
Yeah, but when you also compare that process, that system, with what exists elsewhere, local governments, which are counties, are completely the domestic affairs of the states. And in countries where we don't have states, where you have provinces, they are entirely left to the provinces to decide. But was it possible for us to do what we did in 1976 simply because it was a military regime? So, I mean, a military regime could decree a man to become a woman, and so...
This is 1979 Constitution. The weddings on local government there, it's repeated.
Which was under this constitution was drafted under a military regime.
And it's repeated. Most of our constitutions are drafted under military.
Yeah.
There's no any constitution in Nigeria that's not under military. It's under military. Yeah. What I'm emphasizing is that the weddings here in 1979 is repeated in 1999.
Yeah, I'm saying that so in operation, maybe because it's a little bit difficult in operation now, as we have found out, under a completely civilian setting, sir, where you don't have anybody wearing.
I told you that in 79 to 83, yes, it was a civilian, and local government operated well, and they were functioning. When we came back in 1999 to politics, even under military, they were functioning. When we came back under 1999, they were functioning. It's from 2003, it's because of their allocation. The Constitution gave them right that their allocation is so percentage.
So it was the problem came when the money issue came in.
It's the issue of the money,
all right,
which is not backed up by Constitution. Okay. We are expecting the civil society organization to challenge some governors. Why are you not conducting election?
There have been so many legal challenges. Yeah, but that has actually not absolutely ended the problem.
You see, because there is impunity.
Yeah. Jide, can you make it in 1 second? Sorry, just less than a minute.
It's a culture of impunity that has come in. I would like to take it off from where Prof said about the conduct of local government election. Do you see the impunity with which the governors even dissolve local government councils and dissolve state independent electoral commissions? Even when they are backed by the Constitution, Section 7 says you cannot have governance in local government except by elected authority. Yeah. But you have a situation where caretaker committees and sole administrators are brought in, which is an aberration of the Constitution. But we don't have many of our constitutional lawyers going to court to challenge it, where they have even banned and dissolved some of the councils. There have been Supreme Court justices and judgments, including that of Ekiti State under Governor Kayode Fayemi, which was challenged, and the Supreme Court ruled twice now that the governor has no right to dissolve local government, elected local government. Yeah, it also happened in Kogi, it happened in Ekiti. So where did they get that impunity? Is what we have failed to challenge. The joint account, which is also another bane, is part of what we need to get. If it's not backed by law, then it should be challenged in court to say that why is the Federal Ministry of Finance not paying the local government funds directly to it if it's not backed by law? So these are impunities we need to challenge.
All right, we just have to leave it here because we've run out of time. I know Victor Lisa says Benga, the Nigerian project will only be a dream until a proper recruitment process free from political shackles is embedded. And Omogbola on BAB, CFR, the local government autonomy, which primarily is to develop the grassroots, only existed in nomenclature. The practicality is zero. One good thing that Jonathan would have done to write his name in good was that one term of 6 years, but then no political will. That's Omogbola as well. All right, thank you so much. The conversation will continue on our social platform after this time out. Thank you so much. Professor Kamal Bello is of Nile University, Abuja, where he's a professor of political science and administration. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, Prof. And thanks for the books as well.
I know.
Jide Ojo is Executive Director, OJ Development Consult. He's also a newspaper columnist. He writes a column in the Punch newspapers every Tuesday. Oh, it's Wednesday. Okay. Thank you so much, Judy. I appreciate your time. That's Focus Nigeria this week. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Enjoy the weekend. Do everything in moderation. And I'll see you on Monday.